Going. Cool. Welcome, guys. We are here with Mateo, one great reseller. He's doing mostly shoes, and obviously talk about his reselling journey. Also here with Sid as well. So, Mateo, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do right now? Give us your background.
Well, my name is Mateo. I live in city of Orange, right by Disneyland. Um, I started reselling at 2014. I The way I started was I built something for my daughter at that time, and that was the first item I sold on eBay.
What was
And
that item?
it was something to help her skate,
Okay.
basically a stand, like a stand to help her skate.
Very cool.
And I built an extra one and I sold it the next day on eBay. And I found out that it was a loss because I didn't realize how much it was to ship to New York. And I believe I barely broke even. And I actually, after doing that, I realized that I was shipping incorrectly. And now I'm thinking about remaking it again and actually reselling it again. And that's how
That's
I
cool.
started.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, the way it started was I basically wanted a little bit more freedom of time, and I wanted to quit my 9 to 5 job. And now I did quit my 9 to 5 job, and I am doing this full time.
Nice. Let's kind of jump into that shipping incorrectly. So that should be some good information for our listeners as well. So how are you shipping? How do you ship incorrectly beforehand, and then what did you change? What would you do now to ship that correctly?
Well, now I'm shipping completely through Pirate Ship.
Okay.
I am only shipping through a bubble wrap poly mailer, number 7, and it's always the same size, and it's always approximately the same weight, and it's shipping through cubic size. So I'm not getting all this random shipping. Sometimes it's $20, sometimes it's $7. It's always around $9 to $8, and I only sell 90% of my items on eBay is shoes. So
Okay.
it's almost all the same size, the same price.
Awesome. So like, how are you getting those shoes right now? What's your kind of your secret sauce to kind of scaling your business and getting a good supply of shoes?
Well, I live near the Goodwill outlet,
Hmm.
so I purchase it by the pallet, by
Okay.
the Gaylord pallet. So I'll buy a Gaylord pallet for $100 to 150, and there's about, I would say, 600 pairs of shoes in there, and I would sort it out to ones that are no good, the ones that are going to be redonated, and I would say only less than 10% is worth listing. And so that's basically how I'm getting my shoes.
So even
Interesting.
even you're
So
getting shoes in.
I was going to ask the same question as you. It sounds like you're buying this whole pallet, and then only less than 10% of those are worth selling.
Yes.
Gotcha. And that's
Or no,
still
worth listing.
worth listing. Okay. And but that still gives you enough where you're like still willing to buy pallets.
And majority of the stuff I would have a yard sale, and the rest that I am not willing to list,
Mhm.
I uh, I take it to the swap meet and I sell it to a person there.
Got it. Okay. Okay. That's super interesting. So, because what we've seen this before with other people we've spoken with is that typically they don't buy pallets because they have like hey, I can only send 10% of it online, and so they end up never buying it. It sounds like you figured out a way where like you slice and dice the shoes into different segments, and you say 10% online, 10% here, 10% or whatever percentage here, right? And then you're able to at least start making money on those shoes, which most people would usually just ignore the pallets.
Yeah, I'm sticking to that, but I am planning to change my the way I'm sourcing items. I am
Mm-hmm.
the following because of Thai, I did started doing Amazon now,
Okay,
and
nice.
so that's another new stream of income. And but I do still really like doing pre-owned shoes.
Mhm. Very
And,
Gotcha.
and as far as your question, yeah, honestly, the majority of the shoes are no good, and they're either being tossed away or redonated, or I'm just giving them away.
Gotcha. So I guess one question, like I guess for our viewers, would you say like, hey, go try it, go buy them, or would you say don't buy them? what's your kind of your end thing on here? It sounds like you're kind of in the middle on this one particularly.
I would still buy it, but
You still
personally,
buy it? Okay.
I feel that's really a good start because you're getting 600 pairs,
Mhm.
and I would say maybe 100 to 60 of that, in the range of 100 to $50 range is what I'm selling them for, or what I'm getting them for. So it does make sense still.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, there's still a lot of margin there, even though that's 90% still bad. You can still make $6 units is still pretty good on shoes. What's your average shoe cost? Your ASP for those shoes on average?
My average ASP is $42.
Dang, not a bad ASP for sure. So you're buying at 6, selling for 42 on average. Not bad at all. Very cool. Very cool. And then you talked about kind of you started reselling because you wanted your time back. So is that kind of why you stick with reselling so far? And what like is that the reason why you would say other people should resell?
It is. It especially from a year from now, since this pandemic started. My daughter started doing home schooling, and I'm able to hang out with her the whole day and make sure she's getting her homework done, and I'm still being able to contribute and make an income. And so it does really make sense to me. And and I can still, we practice basketball during her recess, so it's really what I dream, what my life should be.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I was sort of the same way, right? Like, it's either get a full-time job or start reselling, and I had to go the reselling route. It's kind of the same way because you're your own boss, and you kind of do what you want when you want, and there's no limit too. So, what are you trying to like? How you said you talked about before this as well that you are getting into Amazon. Can you talk about that? What are you trying to do with Amazon? Why Amazon in general?
I'm just getting my feet wet with Amazon. Right now, I'm just doing books on Amazon.
Okay.
I am starting to do a little bit of retail arbitrage. Um, I'm getting a box ready to be shipped into them.
Nice.
I'm literally just, I would say less than a month is the first time I send an item in.
Cool. And then what made you do that kind of that shift? I know you're still doing those shoes and you're still active on eBay and the secondary platforms, but what made you do that shift to Amazon?
It's once I find the item, it's going to be sent to Amazon, and that's really a done deal after that. And that's more freedom for me.
Yep. You're talking about like the more freedom. Is it just because you don't have to do the fulfillment side of it? And it's kind of just like a slap a label on and they do the rest, correct?
Exactly. So ideally, would like to get more items in there. But I really still enjoy the whole process of reselling through eBay and other platforms and Mercari and Poshmark. I really do enjoy all the process and trying to figure out what's the best way and most efficient way to do it.
Can I talk about that? So you're on what platforms are you on right now and why are you on those platforms?
I am on eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, Amazon, and I do want to start a Shopify store, but I haven't yet. That's in the to-do list next year.
And then, so are you on like what's your sales in terms of your eBay store compared to your Poshmark and Mercari store? Because I know a lot of other shoe resellers, that's what they do as well. They're on those 3 platforms.
As I would say 60% of my sale is on Poshmark.
60 on Poshmark, interesting.
Wow. Okay.
And I would say 30% on eBay, and the rest is on Mercari.
It's about 10% on Mercari, give or take.
Yes.
And then
and I did start on eBay only, and beginning of last year, that's really when I started a new platform, which is Poshmark, and I started concentrating on Poshmark. And once I started doing that, eBay sales started falling behind a little bit, and that was I wouldn't say in purpose, but I knew that was going to happen. The reason why I wanted that to happen is I really don't like the the way customers are able to return items after 30 days. In Poshmark, once they accept it, it's done. It's a done deal. And then also in Poshmark, I don't have to pay for shipping, but I do have a 20% fee. So that's the reason why I'm concentrating more on Poshmark.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of people can talk about that. Usually, like the biggest thing about eBay people don't like is it's very buyer focused. Poshmark and Mercari are very seller focused, right? We've been seeing that consistently. It's very, very helpful for at least other people as well. Like that's the reason why a lot of people are shifting over to Poshmark and Mercari. Like, what are some tips you would give to people to start selling on Poshmark? Because we have a lot of people that just started cross listing with us, and their sales aren't up to scratch, up to that 60% on Poshmark. What are you doing on Poshmark to really make your sales dramatically different?
On Poshmark, in general, I make my price 10% higher, and um, and so it gives me a little bit of wiggle room for to send offers. And every single day, I share my closet first thing in the morning uh, through a VA. And once that's done, the once I see that my entire closet has been shared, um, I I I go to the oldest item of what I have listed, and I relist all those items. So at least 100 of my items get relisted daily. So it uh, on the search menu or whatever the share menu, it puts it back above in the search. And right after I do that, whoever liked my closet, I send a offer to every single one, every single person.
Awesome. And then how are you doing that right now? You said you talked about are those offers that store slash closet relist? Is that all done by you manually, or do you have somebody else doing that kind of stuff?
I have somebody that does that.
Okay. Very cool. Awesome. And then what's kind of like your other than Amazon, what do you think like is that long-term future that you're trying to shoot for in terms of reselling in general?
Well, the only thing that I haven't figured out yet is when I, like I said, I do like leaving for vacation or taking trips. One thing I haven't figured out or found a person that can help me is my shipping. Because once I'm out, if I need to ship an item, I can't because I do have a storage, and I haven't found anyone that I'm willing to have freedom to come in and out of that storage.
Mhm.
And that's one thing I haven't figured out yet. So when I take off, I either put my shipping date into 10 days, or I put my store in vacation. So eventually, that's something I'm gonna have to release to somebody if I do really want this freedom of time.
Yeah, you kind of let's kind of talk about that too. Shoot, Sid?
Yeah, I was going to jump in on that too. Like, I just want to talk about that because, like, Mateo, since like we've been working with you from as like from a HAMMOQ perspective for a while now. I think almost since like May, and I've seen you definitely go on vacation since then. How do you kind of handle like? So I guess there's two questions we want to talk about. One is like, how do you set yourself up for vacation? How do you kind of like, like give yourself the freedom to do all this stuff? That's one question, and the second is like this operational side. We'll jump into is how do you think about like setting this up for yourself, or you can just get somebody to do shipping? So, but let's talk about that side. Like, how do you give yourself the freedom? Because a lot of people I see, they end up basically saying like, well, if I go on vacation, I'm gonna lose my income. How do I like continue to sustain that? How do you manage that for yourself?
Well, I do have a photographer, and
Okay.
so he shoots all the items, and once it's shot, it gets uploaded directly to a Dropbox. And what I do is, if I am in vacation, it's all ready for me to view. And once it's all ready for me to view, once it's acceptable to me, I then send it to HAMMOQ, and you guys do my listing. So even if I'm in the road, I am able to do that remotely because it is all online. The That's one way I'm doing it. And if I am going to let's say just last week I went took a week off, I put my eBay store into 10-day shipping and handling. So when I got back, I still had that 3 day of shipping my items. and so I am still earning income while I'm out of town.
Gotcha. That's super cool, man. That's nice. I like that. And so, just so I'm going to repeat it back, just to make sure I got it. You basically, like, your photographer sends you stuff. He takes the photos. He sends you stuff. You do a quick review. Then you send it over to HAMMOQ, and that way you can continue listing even while you're on vacation, especially when you go on longer vacations, right?
Exactly. But
Okay.
I do run out of pictures eventually if I'm gone too long. Because
Okay.
he does about, yeah, he does about, he shoots twice a week for me, and he does about 100 a day, so 200 a week. So
Gotcha.
eventually,
How'd you, one question on that, like, how'd you find the photographer, right? I mean, like, this is one of the hardest things for people to do, is find a person that's they're dependable, they can depend on. That's one question. The second is, how do you pay them in terms of, do you pay hourly or do you pay per item?
I pay them $1 an item, and it's somebody that I knew that it's actually somebody I play basketball with, and they lost their job, and they said they wanted to do something to bring in a little bit of money, and they live nearby, and I just showed them what I do, and it took them probably 2 days to figure out I printed out exactly the way I wanted things shot. I have a light box, and they figured it out the after the second day.
Gotcha.
Oh, and,
That's
and
cool.
again, to answer you, I do pay $1 an item, not per shot, an item, and they can shoot
Per
as
item.
much as they.
Gotcha. Cool. And so you found this person through known, and then was there like a process of like training or any of this that you had to do, like to show him what's the right way you want the photos taken, like, the way you like photos being taken? Was there any sort of setup like that, or was that pretty straightforward with them because you knew him?
Well, I have a light box, and I printed out exactly the way I wanted each item shot. I did the first 5 items. He sat behind me, and right after that, I let him do it himself, and I sat right behind him. And after 20 items, I just let him go, and once it's all in Dropbox, I do recheck everything that he did.
Gotcha. Cool. So basically, it sounds like you found somebody that you knew, trusted, gave him a per product model, and which is nice because then they could go as fast or slow as they want. And then the third thing is you made sure like you gave him all the, gave him a light box, gave him all exactly how you wanted the images to be done, and he started doing them. So it turns out, like, I guess it turns out really well for you and for him as well. It's a very good like mutual relationship then.
It does. It's working out really, really well right now.
Gotcha. Nice. And this is actually super helpful because like we have a bunch of viewers that are always thinking about how do I do how do I like outsource more of the work I do? And this is one of the things that they're looking to do. And then the second piece I think is more around like shipping. So Ty, I think before we move to that thing, did you have any other questions on this?
No, just the shipping thing. But also, how many items? You said he's doing about 100 a day. How long does that normally take him? Like in terms of hour base, like what's like the hourly rate if you would divide that based on hours?
Well, here's our deal. He comes in about 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
He starts. I have a bin ready for him. He starts shooting, and around noontime, him and I and my daughter will have lunch together, and then he'll go back and shoot some more. Around 2 or 3 o'clock, he'll be done, and then him and I will go out and go shoot some basketballs after.
Nice. So
Nice.
And
so roughly
and
about.
so it's I can't really give you an hourly rate because I can't say that he's working the whole time because him and I is also
Chatting up.
chit-chatting and telling how our day is or whatever, or our weekend is and all that.
Yeah, so kind of giving rough estimates from 9 to 2 plus a little bit of lunch in the middle. He's doing about 20 to 30 an hour, give or take, which is pretty dang good. Just taking photos, right? We've kind of seen this similar for other people as well. It hits that 20 to 30 hour. Sometimes even people do a little bit more if they're fully focused. But other than that, very, very interesting. And then let's talk about that shipping side. So kind of why what's like the process? What's the thought process behind you don't want anybody else doing the shipping? Is it just because the trust isn't there to go into the storage unit, or going somebody that's dependable each day to go into the storage unit? Kind of give us the background about that, because again, a lot of other people have the same thought process and issue as well.
I did give it a try with one person, and they just couldn't figure out they were experienced in eBay, but they were only experienced on printing through eBay. And they couldn't figure out how pirate ship worked. And that's really the only thing. And I think once he gave up, I haven't searched for another person, because the longer handling time was working for me. I do have a person in mind that I would like to help me with shipping. Eventually, that is the main goal, because the shipping does take about an hour of my day of shipping. And if I can get help with that consistently every day, it'll be really awesome. It'll be really awesome. And so I'm able to take off if I need to.
Everything will be free flowing. You ever think you want to outsource the sourcing as well? People going through those pallets. Would you kind of want to have somebody do that as well, or do you want to keep that? Do you still want to do that to keep a little bit more control of the product going in?
I think ideally, I would like to go more new items, because it will put the sell-through rate a lot higher. But I'm still looking for new sources to do that. That's going to make sense for me. And that's going to take out the sorting of the pre-owned items.
Okay, so trying to get out of the pre-owned game. Okay. Very cool. Sweet. Sydney, any questions on your end?
No, it's super interesting, man. So, I mean, I guess, I think overall, Mateo, like, you've been with HAMMOQ since like what, I think May. And so you've been using us to automate your like listing side of the process. You obviously have your photography side of the process automated as well. It sounds like the next big step for you is going to be automating your sourcing side. Sorry, not sourcing, shipping side. And that gives you, and then after that, potentially sourcing in the long run. And so it sounds like those are kind of your next steps to growth in terms of your business. Is there any other ways you're looking in terms of like how to grow your business, or like maybe more sites, or how do you think about your business in the future? Like what's it going to be like in a year or two?
Well, after doing some research, I found that pre-owned electronics is the new thing I should get into. And I have been finding new sources that giving me new opportunities. The thing with pre-owned electronics, they need to be tested, and there's going to be higher returns and things like that. So that is one thing that I would like to get back into, is pre-owned electronics, high-end pre-owned electronics.
Gotcha. And have you checked out any like local recyclers or any of those guys that like tend to have these products, or are you still kind of in the early phases of trying to figure out what to get so far?
No, I have a source where I can get pre-owned electronics. The only thing is that once I did purchase from them, more than 50% was not working.
Okay.
And so that part of it, so I have to figure out if the numbers are going to work, if me having somebody test all the things is worth the time.
Gotcha. So those are actually interesting figures, right? I mean, because like I think most people either don't end up just jumping in at all just because they're afraid that like they're going to run into a scenario like this. Sounds like you're actually testing it and seeing like what's going to work. So you're investing time and money into this to figure out what's the best way to grow your business, which is cool, right? But like that's still super high rate. So 50% of the electronics you bought would not work. So now you just have to figure out the margins, and then if not, then you find a better source to get the electronics.
It is, yeah. That's the game plan.
Gotcha. Cool, man. That's awesome. That's great, man. And then any plans, I guess, coming up for like vacation and stuff? Were you gonna, take off again? Because like the thing I want to do is like actually, I don't think our viewers, like what I want them to know is like you were just on vacation. You went to Utah. for a week. And before that, I think you took a 5-week vacation earlier in the year. And this is cool, right? And you get to spend time with your daughter, have lunch with her every day right now. And this is kind of like a cool part about your business is like, you're no longer working in a like strict 8 to 5 job. You have the flexibility. And I think this is what a lot of people are looking to achieve, right? This is the dream of like being able to live the life like yours.
It is right now. It's really nice. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that. There was no hammock. I took all the pictures. I listed every item. I found every item. I made a bunch of mistakes, and now I figured that a lot of the things are automated, which is helping. And yeah, it's good times right now. It's really good times. And as far as the future, my wife and I was searching for a new traveling spot, and we found a place in Idaho. It's called Weir Canyon, and they have these really cool natural hot springs. And so right now there's snow around it, and that waterfall comes down to a kind of like a natural springs, and it's cool because the water is like 80 degrees, and then there's snow around it, and then that's something I'm thinking about doing with my family.
Oh, that's nice. So you're gonna go. I assume you're gonna go in their winter, right? To check it out during the snow.
I'm thinking probably like January or February when I can squeeze it in.
Okay,
and
cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention is my wife is in the medical field. She's a respiratory therapist, so she is literally on the front lines of this whole thing that's happening right now. And
wow.
And things gets a little bit right now she's worked, I would say she's on her 12th straight day of working. And so she gets really emotionally drained for everything that's happening, and that's the reason why for the long breaks also.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's supposed to be a crazy time. Like I'm total, like, somebody like her in that position, total respect for like everything she's doing. So, yeah, that's amazing, man. And I'm sorry to hear that, like, it is that emotionally draining, but hopefully, like, these vacations are helping her, and you're taking kind of the other side of the job now, which is great that like reselling has enabled you to kind of take care of the house a little bit more. So that's awesome, man. Good for you. And, thank you to her.
Oh, you're welcome.
So awesome, man. So I guess, I think those are all the questions we had for the, podcast today. It was great having you on. Ty, anything else you got left?
No, man. Again, actually, what would you give to our viewers? What's the best way to use HAMMOQ? Let's kind of finish off with that on our end. So is there anything that you would recommend for our viewers to do with HAMMOQ? Is there anything that you kind of saw that was needed on our end? Kind of give us the background about that.
HAMMOQ has been a huge help. It's really getting me to where I wanted to be. I had a listing goal to where I wanted to be at that I set about a year ago, and I put a number every single quarter, and HAMMOQ did help me get to that number. And
what was that number?
It was 1,500. I wanted to be in 1,500 by the end of the year. And I'm in, let me see, I am in 1,624 as of today. And when I was doing it by myself, I would have never gotten to that number without doing long nights. And HAMMOQ did really help me to get to that number. So the next number for next year at this time is 3,000. That's in my goal.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure HAMMOQ will help me with that goal.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, we hope to work with you as well, right? And hope to get that number to 3,000, maybe next year 5,000, 6,000, right? That's kind of our big goal as well, is help you guys out as much as possible, help speed up that process. Again, if you need anything from us, just always let us know.
Will do.
Cool.
Awesome, man.
And then, Mateo, do you have any Instagram? Do you have anything you want to plug in the end? YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook?
No, I'm not in social media at all.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome. No, great. You're running. I was going to say you're running your business straightforward. You know how to do it. You're optimizing it. That's a great way to run your business. I love it. No Instagram,
Yeah.
nothing. Cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Ty and to Sid. You guys have been great help, and the weekly webinar has been helpful, and I want to have a longer relationship with you guys.
Awesome, man. Hey, thank you for the kind words. Much appreciated.
Same to you,
Cool,
man.
man. Awesome, Mateo. Hey, again, thanks again for joining us on the stand-up. Sorry, on the. I'm thinking about my next meeting already. No, thank you again for joining us for this podcast. This has been super helpful. Thanks again.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Any viewers
Hey,
that
Ty, you wanna
like,
pause there?
subscribe, if you guys want to jump on as well, always give us a call, reach out, all that kind of stuff. Other than that, we're on all different channels, YouTube, podcast, Apple as well. Kind of the final thoughts on that. So other than that, Mateo, thank you again for jumping on, and have a great rest of your holiday.
You too. Merry Christmas.
You too, man.